Alright, so everyone, welcome to the TFT Set 16 Unlock Guide, hosted by Always Roll Academy. And today I will be leading it. My name is Funkster, a challenger coach for Always Roll Academy. So the main things we're going to go through for this event is the unlock mechanic as a whole. So the rules and what it follows. We'll be talking about all the unlocks and kind of when you would want to unlock these units and how to play towards it. And finally, kind of a general how to play for unlockable units towards as a game plan. So the unlock mechanic. Some units will never show up in your shops unless you meet a unlocking condition. This means that these units will just be hidden away and locked away from your unit pools, your shop pools. But if sometimes you really want to unlock it, as you will need them for your end game board. When an unlock is met for a unit, the next shop will be guaranteed to have it in the rightmost slot. So this is kind of their bad luck protection, where you don't have to be afraid of unlocking a unit and never seeing it in your shop still. Something to note though is the unit pool of these unlock units are still shared amongst players. This means that if you and one other player unlock Bard, for example, and you guys both want to reroll Bard, you guys are still sharing the unit pool of Bard. Each player does not have their own unit pool. Also, one thing to really note is that unlocks can be met during PvE rounds. So this is like stage 1 on 2-7, 3-7, 4-7, so on and so forth, unless the unlock is specified player combat. So there is like Rift Herald, where we will talk about later, where it is specified to be player combat, but if the unlocks are more like item requirement, they can be unlocked during PvE rounds. And this also leads to the fact that some unlocks can be met mid-fight. If you start slamming items on a unit during the fight, and if that meets the requirement, for example, Leona needs 3 items. Leona 2 with 3 items unlocks Diana, and you can slam as you're like transitioning or whatnot. You can slam the 3 items on Leona, and it will meet that requirement to unlock Diana next shop. And another example would be like Singe player damage requirement. We will be talking about all these requirements later for the individual units, but these are just some examples to help kind of get our feet wet. However, unlocks regarding raw stat values cannot be met mid-fight, and this involves something like Aatrox or Volibear, where Aatrox needs a unit to have above 40% Omnivamp, or Volibear needs a unit to have more than 3,800 health. And note, some of these 4, 5, and 7 cost units that are unlockable are harder to 3-star compared to normal ones, because they want to make sure that the likelihood of 3-starring them is similar to a contested 4 or 5 cost in past sets. But yeah, definitely a lot at once to look at, but I'll promise you that once we look into every single unit, it'll become a lot easier to kind of digest. And honestly, these unlock mechanics, there's nothing that you have to kind of manipulate yourself as much. The only thing to really note as a player is the PvE rounds and the mid-fight requirements. So before we get started into talking about the 2 cost, 3 cost, and all the unlocks champions as for each of them, is there any questions that we want to address? Des says a question about, can you get unlocked champions from Pandora's? And yeah, once you unlock it, it will also roll as any unit in your pool. Otherwise, you cannot roll Pandora's cannot roll a unit that is locked away. Alright, I'm gonna move on to talk about the individual unlocks for each of them. So first, there are no 1-cost unlocks. All the unlocks start at 2 cost. And first, let's talk about Bard. Bard's unlock requirement is to reroll 4 times before stage 2 carousel. This means that you need to reroll 4 times on 2-1, 2-3, or 2-4. Oh, sorry, 2-1, 2-2, or 2-3. And generally, Bard is very good for reroll comps. Units that Bard drops from Caretakers, which is his unique trait. He's able to give you a unit every single time you win a round, and these units are tailored to the traits that you have. For example, if you have Bruisers in, you're likely to find like Scion, Shen, Ilaoi from Caretakers. And also, Bard does synergize with free reroll augments, such as Trade Sector and anything that gives you early free rerolls. They do count. Orianna. She's a unit that has a requirement of 3 piltover or higher. Honestly, the only reason, or the only way I've unlocked Orianna, or thought of unlocking her, is I've been playing into piltover as a vertical trait. Otherwise though, I don't really find me unlocking her otherwise. Poppy. Field a Demacian or Yordle with 2 items in combat. Poppy is very, very good just because she has she is a double region trait unit with Demacian and Yordle. You can also get early 3 Demacia with Poppy, and she is very good for unlocking Rise later on. And yes, for Orianna, her unlock is just by playing 3 Piltover on like PvE rounds as well. You do not need to play it on a combat round. Graves. Field a Twisted Fate with 2 items in combat. Just really good for Graves TF reroll, and if you're thinking of playing vertical Bilgewater, you can get him very early, as well as he is a gunslinger who ties in with MF quite well, as they're both Bilgewater and gunslinger units. And finally we have, for the rest of the 2 costs, we have Tryndamere, Field, and Ash with 2 items in combat. The only reason I see... Okay, so Tryndamere is quite interesting because you can play Tryndamere Ash reroll, or you can play Tryndamere when you're playing vertical Freylord. But later on, as we talk about unlocking Aatrox, he is really good for unlocking Aatrox when you meeting the 6th layer Omnivamp requirement. We will talk about this more as we get to Aatrox. And then Yorick. I think you only want to unlock Yorick if you have a Viego 2 opener, because as his unlock mechanic is field a 2-star Viego with 2 items in combat. You don't really want to be rerolling for a Viego 2. You just kind of wait if you natural Viego 2 on stage 1 or just early stage 2. He's quite good with Kalista and Thresh, as he synergizes with Thresh with the same exact traits with Shadow Isles and Wardens, and he is one of the lower cost Warden units, as there is no 1 cost Warden unit. The lowest cost is a 2 cost unit, and he is him. He is him. We're gonna go to 3 cost unlocks now. Kennen, 8-star levels of Ionia, Yordle, or Defender. It may seem daunting to look at, just because it's like you need 8-star levels. But if you play kind of Yordle as you progress with Yordles, you will just unlock Kennen very, very easily. And as similarly to Poppy, Kennen has a double region trait, which is Yordle and Ionia. So this is also going to be good for unlocking Rise. And in the end, he also shares Defender with Rumble, as he's also both a Yordle and a Defender. Kabuko Yumi. The unlock mechanic is 6-star levels of Brawler, Yordle, or Invoker. He's also double team-wide trait in terms of Bruiser and Invoker, so he's very nice splash. It's important to note though that Kabuko Yumi does have a level 7 requirement, which although it's not listed here, and he is good on the Noxus board later. He's one of the few units where I would recommend looking to unlock on the stage 3-7, that PvE round, because you're normally going to be able to hit level 7 at that point, and fitting in 6-star levels of Brawler, Yordle, or Invoker is quite easy if you are already playing towards like LeBlanc, Scion, and those units. And you can also just play 6 Brawlers or 6 Yordles, mix match them onto your board to just get the unlock. LeBlanc. Field the Scion with 2 items in combat. This is also just good from a Scion opener. You can get 3 Noxus quite early with Scion, LeBlanc, and Briar, and she's a great AP item holder. This is also another unit that I would look early to put 2 items on Scion on maybe stage 1 as well, so you can actually get it on 2-1. Get the 3 Noxus and 3 Noxus LeBlanc on 2-1. But that is something that you don't need to do, but something to look for doing. Darius. The only reasons I found myself unlocking Darius is to have early 5 Noxus. Otherwise, he hasn't been much of use. And then Gwen is a Shadow Isle Disruptor, where the unlock condition is to just collect 20 souls. This is something you kind of get progressively as you play Shadow Isles. She's a great AP holder, item holder for Thresh. They kind of use like the same items-ish. And she is strong at 3-star. So you could look to play some Gwen, maybe Malzahar reroll with Disruptors. 4 cost unlocks. We have a bunch of these, so get ready. Diana. Field the 2-star Leona with 3 items in combat. This is something I was talking about earlier, where you could slam these items on Leona mid-combat, and it works fine. You're looking for... The reason why you want to unlock her is because you need her to unlock ASO later. Forgot to list this here. And then herself has a passive where she applies a 10% damage debuff alongside Leona when she marks someone with her ability. She can also assassinate backline carries, very similar to Akali from last set, if you played. Skarner, field a non-tank with Gargoyle Stoneplate in combat. It's kind of a niche unlock, just because you need a specific item. So you need the exact components and just make a Gargoyle Stoneplate. He has a very nice team-wide armor buff, and he is a very nice option for a +1 slot if you have an open slot. He has no like class traits or whatnot, so his ability is like CC's like 3 people, and it's quite good there. Also, it's not noted here, but he is a level 7 requirement unlock. So you cannot get this on like level 6 if you're playing Nico Mildio reroll, something like that. Yone. Yone is a Ionian Slayer whose unlock condition is 3-star Yasuo. Honestly, he's only playable with Yasuo reroll. You're never unlocking Yone if you don't reroll Yasuo, because you need the 3-star Yasuo. And he does use the attack speed item as well, compared to Yasuo, who wants more AD focused AD focused items. And Yasuo and Yone synergize in terms of ability, where a Yone knockup will cause Yasuo to do extra damage to it. But yeah, you're only playing Yone if you're playing Yasuo reroll. And finally, on this page you have Warwick, whose unlock condition is 2-star Jinx and 2-star Vi. I think you only play this with like Jinx 3-star as a dual carry. But he is a great a unit to play if you want to play into Vertical Zon, as he holds bruiser items quite well. But if you are playing Vertical Zon, you kind of unlock this naturally as you hit 2-star Jinx, 2-star Vi. Moving on, we have Callista, whose unlock condition is collect 75 souls. You just naturally unlock Callista if you're playing Vertical Shadow Isles, and she is a AD caster carry. Nothing much over there. Fizz you also naturally unlock if you play Yordles or like Vertical Bilgewater. He has been a quite annoying unit for backline carries, just because he dashes similarly to Akali to the backline. But currently, in the current state of Fizz, he's not the best unit, and you just kind of unlock him for the trait that you want in terms of Bilgewater or Yordle. Kai'Sa, field a long shot with 3 items in combat plus level 8. This is a very easy unlock. You could be playing around early Kog'Maw, who is also a void long shot, and just hold those same items. She is also very flexible because she has this assimilator trait where her ability changes based on if she has more AD or AP from her items. And so you don't necessarily need to tailor, oh, I'm playing Kai'Sa, I need AD items or I need AP items. You can kind of just play whatever items you have. And yeah, you usually just get this from playing early Cog with 3 items. Veigar, field the unit with 2 Rabadon's depth caps in combat. This is honestly very difficult unlock. Getting 4 rods is quite hard unless you have something like replication or a magic roll where you roll rods. I personally haven't had much experience playing Veigar, and I don't know where his power level is, but this one is definitely one of the harder 4 costs to unlock. Now we have Singed. Take 30 damage and 4 Zonids or 4 Juggernauts. I don't remember exactly if there's a level requirement on this champion. If someone could let me know, it'd be great. But he is quite easy to unlock, just because taking 30 damage is something that will happen very naturally throughout the game. And playing only 4 Zonids or Juggernauts, if you're playing towards Zon already, you'll be unlocking him. He's a really good applicator for utility. He's a very good holder for utility items such as Morello, Void Staff, just because he runs around the entire board, damaging everyone and applying your utility. Literally, you want to play her when you're playing. Oh, sorry. The unlock mechanic is field two 2-star Nikos in combat together. You want to normally play her when you're playing vertical Ishtal, and she can get. Oh, and then with her passive of Huntress, it notes that she's untargetable as long as your strongest Nico is alive. But it is important to note that she can still get splashed by abilities, which is why you still want to build like healing on her. And then as for Rip Herald, the unlock mechanic is have Void active for 8-player combats. You normally want to get normally want to get Rip Herald by like 4-2, 4-5 latest. And so you really want to get Void active by like 2-5 latest. Preferably you get it in on 2-1, and you would probably be able to unlock Rip Herald by late stage 3. But I think 2-5 is kind of the latest. And then Rift Herald is a strong bruiser, that one of the stronger bruisers as a 4 cost. So Rift Herald does splash very well onto many endgame boards. Finally, for 4 cost we have the Streamins. It's currently not updated, but the unlock mechanic for Nasus and Renekton are both win or lose, respectively, 2, 4, 5 combats with Azir. Once you unlock your first Streamin, the condition to unlock your second Streamin will progressively get harder. They recently nerfed both of them to make the third Streamin unlock +1 round. So yeah, so now it's 2, 4, 5 rather than 2, 3, 4. Both these units have no class traits, and they operate kind of in the board strength of very similar to like a 4.5 cost. Nasus is a tank unit on Rise boards, and Renekton can be very strong if you itemize him with 80 booster items. Now moving to 5 cost, we have Volibear. The unlock condition is level 8 plus have a unit with 3800 health. This honestly gets a little bit easy to unlock. As long as you have Bruiser active and HP tank items, something like Warmogs, Visage, you will be able to unlock Volibear. Or if you can't get HP tank items, you just get like raw tank items. Just having 4 Bruiser in for 1 turn is enough to unlock Volibear on like a 2-star 4 cost. Yeah, and also good to note, thanks to none here, but if you have an early Scion that has been stacking health, you can also unlock Volibear quite easily that way. Ziggs. The unlock mechanic is to field a Yordle or a Zonite with 3 items and being level 9. This is also a very easy unlock. You kind of naturally get here as long as you get to level 9. And there's no like trait requirement or anything like that, just having 3 items on a Yordle or a Zonite. Ziggs is a little bit untested for us, but we find that he is very strong as a unit, and he does very well with casting mana items, despite what his ability reads, where his autos are like throwing little bombs. We are definitely testing more with like endgame Ziggs boards though. Tahm Kench. Playing vertical Bilgewater. Unlock is to spend 500 Silver Serpents. But and then the Silver Serpents are this currency you get by playing Bilgewater. You get around 18 to like 30 something per round for 3 to 5 Bilgewater, and you use these to spend in the Bilgewater shop. He is quite a strong unit that can end up eating enemy melee carries and Giga Tanks. Very similar to like Braum of last set, where TK can just remove a unit and cause a Giga Tank to get de-aggroed. So you want to do position like that. Otherwise, you do just unlock Tahm Kench playing vertical Bilgewaters. And now Thresh. Unlock is to collect 150 souls. You unlock Thresh just by also playing vertical Shadow Isles very naturally. The souls will come your way. You will unlock Thresh. We talked about this a little earlier. but he is a Shadow Isle Warden, which is the same exact traits as Yorick, and he wants AP damage items rather than true tank items. Set. The unlock is level 8 plus field only 1 unit in the first 2 rows of combat. This is actually very, very easy to unlock. I see a lot of top players just unlock Set on the very first turn of being level 8. And he is a really good unit that can displace like a Giga Tank as well. It's just good to note that the requirement right now is to be level 8. So at the moment you hit level 8 on like 4-2 or 4-5, just make sure you solo frontline a unit in the first 2 rows of combat and you'll get Set. He can hold any AP bruiser items. Honestly, like any AP items, any bruiser items, and he can really fit onto any board just because as long as he is kind of traitless. Galio. 12 star levels of Demacia is the unlock condition. And when you play Galio, you're really only playing Vertical Demacia. He basically provides like a Tactician's Crown because he sits on your bench, but he still gives you the Demacia trait active. He still gives you +1 on the Demacian trait. And yeah, he is just quite a good unit as you hit 7 Demacia with like early star levels on them. Just to track back a little bit actually, there is a good point of kind of what units, going back to like Tom Kench a little bit. He has this Glutton trait where you can actually go back to feeding him units and he will consume them for stats. Normally I feel like you do want to just feed him raw HP. Yeah, you just feed him any tank and he will just get HP from those units and he will get very bulky. You want to try and feed him almost every turn unless you need the money to, yeah, but HP. Otherwise you want attack speed. Well, I think HP is just the best one, right, out of HP, AP, and AS. Yeah, sorry, moving onwards a little bit now. The T-Hex unlock is 9 Piltover star levels. This is really you just playing vertical Piltover. There are 6 Piltover units in total before you unlock T-Hex, and which means that of the 6 units, you need 3 of them 2-starred, and you can get the T-Hex. The T-Hex is an 80 caster. I did not know that until recently, but yeah, he wants 80 items. And for Mel now, the unlock is a 2-star Embessa with 1 item dies. I want to note that this is actually quite a easy unlock if you're already planning to play Embessa on your board. It doesn't require any trades or anything, it just requires this 1 unit Embessa with 1 item dying. It is important to note that Embessa is a 4-cost unit, so it might be a little hard to 2-star her, but you will eventually just kind of naturally unlock Mel if you're playing Embessa. She holds mana and utility well, and she has very high base damage. Mel is very, very strong. Now to some of the more important 5-cost unlocks, which is why we have like dedicated slides to them. Aatrox. Aatrox's unlock condition is to field a unit with 40% Omnivamp in combat plus level 8. Important to note, I know although it says in combat, this has to be before combat start. Do not slam items mid combat to try and unlock Aatrox. It will not work. And so some of the kind of normal ways, the main ways of unlocking Aatrox is to play 6 Slayer plus a BT. That will be enough Omnivamp for your Aatrox. For 40% Omnivamp on a Slayer. Just note, this BT must go on a Slayer. And then the other one is 2 Slayer with BT plus 1 of Hodge or Gunblade. Or you can just do double BT on any unit. This is probably the easier way to do it, just because not easier, but this is just an alternative way to do it if you can't get 6 Slayer in. And this goes back to saying that we want to unlock Tryndamere, because Tryndamere will be our sixth Slayer before Aatrox. It's good to note that he fits onto any board that honestly has Slayer on. For example, Noxus has Briar, who's a Slayer, and you can just slot in Aatrox. And he carries the items that you use to unlock him quite well in terms of BT. BT Hodge, he does use him quite well. Through our learnings though, Ginsu's Rageblade is his best item. His ability, cast animation, scales with attack speed, and with his revive mechanic as well, you're guaranteed to have a very scaled Rageblade Aatrox towards the end of the fight. Xerath. Unlock. Alternate winning and losing rounds 3, 4, 5 times with Azir. They changed this to 3, 5, 6 times with Azir. And so you really want to try and make Xerath your first unit that you're unlocking. Either unlock with win, lose, win, or lose, win, lose. We will say though, he is one of the hardest Dreamman to unlock, but very likely the best unlock for all set, just because of his charm mechanic. If you have played set 12, if I remember correctly, the Magic and Mayhem one, they brought back charms just for Xerath. They will appear on your very right slot of your shop, and all these charms currently are overtuned and very, very good. And then you, as you said, you want to unlock him first, just one, because it's hard to unlock him otherwise, and two, the charms scale towards later board in terms of board strength. And this is something I was going to get to. I think if you know that you are strongest in the lobby, or you know that you can force a win lose win or lose win lose, definitely try and unlock Xerath if you have an early Azir. He is very worth it. He's worth losing 1 life for, or 1 or 2 lives for, unlocking unlocking Xerath, and he can be your win condition towards the end of the game. 7 cost unlocks. Zahan. Get the Xin Zhao Champion Hero Augment, plus field a 3-star Xin Zhao for 5 rounds. You're only getting Zahen if you get the Trials of Twilight Augment, which is the Xin Zhao Champion Augment. He is an 80 bruiser, but honestly, if you're playing Xin Zhao Hero Augment anyways, the the items just translate 1-to-1. There's really no need to think about those items that way. And then once you unlock Zahen from the Xin Zhao Champion Hero Augment, you get a 2-star Zahen replacement instead. So what happens is your Xin Zhao gets killed on your board and removed, and you get Zahen instead. And this spawns in as a 2-star. In terms of power level of this Trials of Twilight Augment and Zahen, I've seen it do okay. I wouldn't say it does well. I think it's definitely very cool, but with the current state of the Hero Augment, it just looks okay. This is also partly because you need to field the 3-star Xin Zhao for 5 rounds, which means that earlier you need to find Xin Zhao 3 almost as soon as you can, or else you will just never get to unlocking Zahen. And yes, I think something to note is that Xin Zhao is a little bit contested, just because he is that 3-trait unit of Ionian Demacian with double region, and so he is kind of bought on some Rise boards. Brock. The unlock condition is collect 500 Ixtal clues in total. Ixtal clues are kind of this point system for the Ixtal trait, where you're offered to complete a mission, and these missions grant you a different amounts of Ixtal clues based on the difficulty of the quest. But once you collect 500 of these Ixtal clues in total, you get Brock. It's quite difficult to unlock Brock, just because you need to either build up your clues or unlock or get one really hard quest and just get a bunch of clues that way. Otherwise though, this Brock unit is a beast. He is a very strong bruiser carry. He likes his bruiser items. He knocks up the entire board. He's fun. He's cool. Nothing to hate about Brock. He's Brock. Baron Nashor. The unlock is to be level 10 and have 7 void units, and have 7 void. You just very naturally unlock Baron Nashor if you're playing vertical void. He is though a very expensive unlock because you have to make it to level 10 compared to other unlocks where you can unlock it on level 9 or level 8. And in terms of items that Baron Nashor wants, is that you want 80 bruiser items. But yeah, he's kind of there. He's kind of big. Now, the more important 7 cost unlocks is Aurelian Soul and Silas. But let's talk about Aurelian Soul first. You unlock A Soul by playing 5 Targon units in combat. And the 5 Targon units you need will be Aphelios, Zoe, Leona, Diana, and Derek. Note, it is important to note that we mentioned Diana, which means that you must unlock Diana first, then unlock A Soul the turn after. As for A Soul, he is really, really strong currently. You want 3 mana items to stack his passive as soon as possible. So what is his passive though? Is that his ability scales with how much Stardust he collects. And he collects Stardust every single time he casts his ability. You want to just stack this his Stardust up as much as you can with 3 mana items with every round you play, and get that Stardust up. Usually though, when you're playing 5 Targon, you kind of want to just drop out of Aphelios because he is the worst Targon unit out of the 5 to play some 3 Freylord on level 8 or just any random 5 cost with utility. This set as a whole has just been kind of about playing these random 5 costs just because they're kind of traitless and good to have on your board by itself. I would say though, you only want to play Aurelian Soul if you get dropped the early Leona 2 or early Tarek. Otherwise, or you have a bunch of money and you can just kind of send your gold on like 3/6 for A Soul. It kind of reminds me of like Ashe, Crystal Gambit Ashe of last set, where if you have 1 Tarek, you kind of it's kind of go time to play some A Soul. Now in terms of Silas, you unlock him by selling a 2-star Jarvan, 2-star Garen, and 2-star Lux. This is a very big investment, right? You're selling two 2-star 4 costs in the form of Garen, Lux, and also this Jarvan. Usually you play this through Vertical Demacia just because you'll be playing around Jarvan, Garen, Lux already. And so you'll likely unlock Galio. Silas has 2 traits, Arcanist and Defender, but you really want to play around this Arcanist trait just because all his abilities scale based on AP, and Arcanist gives raw AP. I will say that I believe the highest cap when you want to play around Silas is playing through Vertical Demacia, and once you hit Annie, you're willing to open sell all these 2-star Jarvan, Garen, Lux units. Just make sure you hold 1 Nico throughout this entire process, because Nico is a defender and an Arcanist as well. It's important to note that he is a frontline unit, so he wants JG to amplify the raw AP you get from Arcanist, and some healing to keep him sustained, something like JG Hodge. And finally, we get to Rise, the most giga unlock ever. The unlock is now field 5 region traits together in combat instead of 4. This is outdated. And there is like only one core way to unlock Rise on level 8 without a spatula or a fawn. And this way right now is to play Kenny Poppy Xin Zhao, a Targon unit, and in this case in the planner we have Tarek, 1 Demacian, 1 Ionian, and 1 of the 2 region traits, which are Void, Piltover, or Shurima. With this, you're able to have Demacia, Ionia, Piltover. No, sorry. You'll be able to have Demacia, Ionia, Girdle, Targon as your 4 main ones, and your last one will be Void, Piltover, or Shurima. Rise has been nerfed a few times over PP now, but he's still a pretty strong solo carry and CC provider if you have the Shuriman Rise, because he does benefit off every region with his Rune Mage trait, and therefore he honestly can be flexed into any comp you unlock him in. I think that Rise is also a unit that you want to just play towards. I feel like it's a little hard to sometimes fit Rise in when you're playing kind of vertical, playing towards another vertical or playing towards another kind of carry already. But this board we have right here is very, very important to note. Just because you unlock him on 8, you lose 1 round intentionally to kind of unlock him, and then you're willing to just drop out of this 5 trait board you have. Just go back to playing some 4 trait board. Yep. I do think though it is important to just kind of keep your Kennen, Poppies, and Zao core. These three units just synergize too well with each other and the traits that they unlock, just because they provide Yordle for free, 2 of Ionia, and 2 of Demacia. Personally, I don't know why they printed a trait web like this for these 3 units, but I expect to see a lot of Kennen, Poppies, and Zao rise if you don't have any spatulas or emblems. Any questions about Rise? Just because he is kind of the 7 cost of the set, I feel like. What is Rise board? We have the just to reiterate. This is the unlock board. Oh, I think max cap, level 9 board. You definitely want to play Shurima and Piltover. So you're willing to actually drop out of Taric and play Loris, the girl, Seraphine, Vizier, and this way you get Disruptor for a 10% damage reduction for on enemy carries if they get splashed. And yeah, and the Targon Rise bonus is not the best. Anyways, and yeah, I do agree that it is important to have 2 mana items on Rise. He loves casting. The more often you get his cast out, also the more often you can get the Shuriman knockup ability. Part of it is just very, very strong. And specifically Piltover Rise, you need 2 mana. Slice Sound, do you have? Wait, do you know the exact reason? I didn't look at Piltover Rise that much. Oh, I see. Every 3rd cast, he does a lot of damage. So, got it. Yeah. Thanks for the extra info there. Other than that though, I'll be moving on from Rise. And now we'll kind of talk about how to play for these unlockable units. After you decide your line, and in this set, deciding your line kind of feels towards like what early opener you have, / the AP items, AD items, something like that. Just be aware of what unlockable champions you need on your final board. And then in this case also, and once you know what unlockable champions you need, put them in your planner. They have a really nice planner, this set, where you also get to see kind of the unlock conditions very easily, and it will also give you kind of notifications when you're getting close to unlock. I will say, and be sure to adjust your board on 3747 and etc. just to meet these requirements. You're not on these rounds you're playing against PvE. You're not impacting board strength on player combat, so you're not losing excessive HP. And yeah. Note, just remember, some champions need a specific item. For example, Veigar or Skarner. So don't accidentally waste your rods if you're playing towards Veigar. Don't accidentally make like Vow if you haven't had Gargoyles yet, if you want to unlock Skarner. And I think definitely it may feel overwhelming at first, but after you get like 1 or 2 games in, I honestly feel like this set is the set mechanic is very intuitive. As long as you know what you're kind of playing towards, the units you want to unlock will kind of naturally come. You'll slowly meet those conditions, and it's just maybe a little bit out of the way to unlock them. It's not as out of the way as it may seem, as long as you're playing towards that line. And yeah, compared to the last set, there are a lot less hidden mechanics that you don't have to worry about. It's just very straightforward. Other than that though, that is all I have for you today for the unlock guide. I hope this helps. But yeah, this set is, on a less serious note, this set is very, very fun.